It seems like we're really coming full circle with things by now, but here we are. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy Vitamin M, and today we got another episode of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. In the last episode, we took down Eggman in the Death Egg Zone and the Doomsday Zone, and we got the best ending for that. And here at the game select screen, we can see that there's a new screen there, up there at the top above where Sonic and Tails are. You can see the emblem there with Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails there. You know? Pretty cool. Now that'll show up if you have all of the Super Emeralds, all the Chaos Emeralds, and you got the best ending of the game. And by this point, as you can see, you can go up and down with your selections to play the zones again. So you can use this to get those Super Emeralds or any of the Chaos Emeralds you missed along the way. And you can play any zone you want, but you can only play the Doomsday Zone if you have already played it and beaten it. But yeah, so if you didn't get them all, this is your chance to get them back and get the best ending. But I'll be talking a little bit more about the endings, because I think I misspoke about some things about them in the last episode there. But today, we're going to be starting a new game here, and there's still quite a bit of content here in this game. This is what was really cool about the lock-on technology that Sega used to create the full depth of the game here. So today, we're going to be starting a new game with our boy Knuckles right here. Like I said, we're going to be exploring the and Knuckles portion of the game. Now, Knuckles plays very differently, and he's got he's definitely got a different story on his side, but, you know, let's just jump right into it here. So we begin with Angel Island Zone 1. Now, when it really boils down to this, Knuckles' story isn't terribly different from Sonic and Tails. He does have some different enemies that he's going to be facing, and he's going to be getting to different parts of the zones, and there's certain parts of those zones that are explicitly reserved for him more so. Your super rings that you could have gotten with Sonic and Tails are still all in the same spot here, as we're playing the first bonus game here. So you're going to have to get all the Chaos Emeralds again in order to unlock the Hyper Form and the Super Form of all the characters again here. So just keep that in mind, but Knuckles, there isn't a whole lot that's terribly different to his story for sure. But I don't want to spoil too much about that, but we'll be getting to him and what unravels in his story eventually. But, so getting into Knuckles' playstyle here, Knuckles has a lot of the same abilities as Sonic. You can still spin dash, still jump around, everything like that, but he doesn't have the insta-shield in the midair. Instead, what he'll do is he'll glide. So you jump, and then you press the jump button again and hold it to glide in the direction that you want. He'll just be gliding there, and if he hits a wall, then he will grab onto the walls and you can be able to climb them. Now, this is the great thing about Knuckles. His mobility is really great, and it's actually really, really nice. It's not as nice as Tails, where it's a little more free and you don't need a wall or something like that, but it's definitely really, really nice to have. But we've got our first Chaos Emerald here, and we're off to a good start already. So we're looking pretty good, and we got a perfect. We got another extra live to count, and we've got another continue here. So, you know, not probably going to be using continues, I hope not, but we'll be fine. So, off to a good start already, my dudes. It's looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. Getting back into Angel Island Zone here, so we're going to be going through here. Well, let me talk a little bit more about Knuckles' mobility here. So, obviously, like I said, you know, press the jump button, and then press it again in the air to hold it down in order to glide in the same direction that you're facing. Now, Knuckles' Knuckles obviously allows him to bust open a lot of areas, especially these rocky areas in Angel Island Zone here, and in some different parts of the zones. So there'll be certain blocks that are set aside that Sonic by himself couldn't destroy, but darn it. But Knuckles would be able to destroy by himself because of, well, you guessed it, his Knuckles. Now, as you saw there, I'm climbing the wall here, right here, so after a glide, if you hit a wall, he'll start climbing and he'll latch onto it with his Knuckles there. Press up and down to go up and down the wall there, nothing else to really press. If you don't press anything, he'll just be hanging onto the wall there and just be chilling out. Now, something else about Knuckles' Knuckles is he also really likes to chuckle. Okay, not really, but maybe. is his Knuckles actually allows him to attack enemies that you may come across here. So, as you can see, we're still going to be having this enemy right here, but as you saw, he leads with his Knuckles there. So he can attack enemies, and if you hit the ground, if you're gliding, you're going to slide for a little bit, as you can see here. So he's definitely got some nice mobility, and he's got a lot of extra features that really come his way with what he can do thanks to, well, you guessed it, his Knuckles. So there's definitely a lot he could do. So typically, if you remember, Sonic would have to do a spin dash to get through here, but Knuckles just has to walk up to it, punch it real good. You just gotta punch it. What the heck? I hate it when that happens. That ring goes away. I hate that. Alright, probably try to refresh the game. Okay, nice. So sometimes it will happen, you just need to go away and then go back. So, not a big deal there. But we're already at our second bonus stage here, and I'm probably going to be, I know in a lot of these zones, I'll probably be trying to get to Sonic's path, because that's mostly where I remember these big rings being in order to get the Chaos Emeralds. And eventually get to Super and Hyper Knuckles, not Sonic. We're done playing as Sonic. But yeah, so everything's pretty much about the same, just you're going to be taking some different paths along your way, which are going to be pretty fun, and they really stress using Knuckles' ability and exploring that way and trying to play the game that way, which is definitely pretty cool. That was something that really drove the development of this game, was having these multiple characters and the different ways to play them, and the possibilities that could come with it. So that was something that really drove the development of the game and the thinking and the creativity of Sega back then. So that's actually something pretty cool to really think about. I really like it when games do that. They introduce characters, and they really try to focus on their character development, but also they're really trying to say, okay, what can this character do, and how can we adapt the game to what we want them to do, and try to stress their abilities, different things such as that. So I always find that pretty cool. Character development's pretty cool, whether, you know, it's a book or a video game or something. There's something about characters that we really appeal to ourselves because of our humanity. We see something in them that we want or we desire. But anyways, we got our second Chaos Emerald here, so we're looking pretty good already. We are looking pretty good and in some great shape here. 5 more to go. Let's do this. And we got another continue, so we're looking pretty good. Alright. But yeah, so as I mentioned, Knuckles is actually the protector of the Master Emerald. So Angel Island is actually where he lives. So because the Master Emerald was taken by Eggman, that's why things are kind of going a little bit berserk here on the island for sure. But as you saw at the end of Sonic's story, the island was out of the water there, and it wasn't floating, which it typically does. But anyways, before I talk any more further about that, right here, if you remember, this was the path that Sonic would have to take, but Knuckles destroys this rock no matter what. So if we play as Knuckles, we can't get up there, and you're going to get hit by spikes and stopped by spikes no matter what you do. So the game is forcing us to go this way because we're able to break things with our Knuckles. Got our lightning shield here. So we couldn't get that fire shield up there, but this is where you would fight this boss right here. So keep that in mind. Not hard at all, you know. Still a lot of things going on with that. But the other thing with Knuckles too, I forgot to mention, is he cannot jump as high as Sonic. So that can really hurt you there, but that's okay. Knuckles got through Act 1. So we're already off to a really good start here. And now we're going to be playing through Angel Island Zone Act 2. Now if you remember, we took a different way to fight that boss, and the game forced us to go a different way. So, by this point, this is the first part of the game where things start to change up a little bit, depending on who you're playing as. So this is the path with Knuckles, right here. So we're going to be going this way for a little bit, and we're eventually going to get to some other places that we can go. Either if we were Sonic or Tails, or just Knuckles by himself. But you can only get to this spot right here if you're Knuckles. But as I was saying earlier, Knuckles is the protector of the Master Emerald, so he lives by himself on this island here, as far as I know. I don't know too much about the story of Sonic Adventure, because I know that kind of talks a little bit more about it, and everything such as that. But these areas are going to tend to stress his abilities too, his climbing, his gliding. So you want to keep... What the heck? That was dumb. That was kind of broken right there. Kind of stressing his abilities for sure. So just keep that in mind as you go about this whole area here. And keep an eye out for those super rings there. But a little bit more about Knuckles' background is they actually kind of wanted to create a rival character for Sonic for this game to add some newer content, some newer characters and everything such as that. And they came up with this. So like, well, what's kind of like a furry creature that we could use? So they decided on an echidna, which very strange creatures, but kind of like hedgehogs, I guess. So Knuckles the echidna, and I think I might have mentioned this earlier, but when I was younger, I didn't know how to say echidna, so I would call him Knuckles the enchilada. So eventually, as a joke, I would just say Knucka the enchilada, which, you know, is pretty cool if I do say so myself, you know? But just kind of poking fun at the characters and stuff like that. But yeah, so obviously he uses his dreadlocks to glide. Okay, that was weird. He uses his dreadlocks to glide and everything such as that. But if you notice, his shoes are actually the Rastafarian colors. So you've got obviously red, green, and yellow for those. If you notice them right there. And he was kind of designed with this Rastafarian mindset in mind when they were creating the character, which is definitely a little interesting, but it's pretty cool. But the other interesting thing about echidnas is they are actually pretty sensitive to the electromagnetic spectrum on Earth. And, you know, you wouldn't think of that with such a small creature and everything such as that. But honestly, this is, I don't know if it actually inspired this, but Sonic Adventure 2, the parts with Knuckles and Rouge, where you have to find the pieces of the Master Emerald, that might have been possibly inspired by that capability of echidnas. Possibly. I don't know, it might just be a strange coincidence or divine providence, you know, the part of creativity there, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know. But definitely awfully strange there. But from what I've heard, those sections of that game are not fun. So no spikes down there, so that's pretty good. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, so he was designed as a rival character in Sonic 3. As I mentioned before, development had to be split up because of cartridge costs and different things such as that. We're stuck. Oh, okay. I didn't hit him, but I hit the spikes. Nice. Development was split up, so he was not playable in the main story of Sonic 3. But we got our first boss right here. So if you notice in the cockpit there, that is not Dr. Eggman. If you remember from Sky Sanctuary Zone, we had these enemies called the Egg Robos. So there's actually one of those guys fighting us now. And he is actually going to be the main villain of Knuckles' story right there. So a little bit of a change-up, which is definitely pretty nice, but definitely kind of interesting how they go about that with this. And I'll explain a little bit that in the next zone here. But Knuckles got through Act 2. So we got 2 Chaos Emeralds on our side. We're on our way to the next zone, and he just jumps down there because there's no switch. The story's different there, you know? So here we are back at Hydro City Zone, and we're just going to be kicking it real good here. So, you know, we could go Sonic's way, but I think I want to try and go Knuckles' way here. Kind of get some exploration going. So obviously we can climb up the walls here, and we're at the top of the screen, so we're going to go up here. There. Okay, and here we are. We're at Knuckles' fortune now. And also Tails can get to this part too, so keep that in mind if you're playing as Tails. So, definitely pretty neat. But yeah, so Egg Robo is actually going to be the main villain of Knuckles' story here. Oh, I thought that wouldn't do anything, darn it. He's actually going to be the main villain of this. So, this gets back into the endings, which I don't think I did the best job of explaining. back in the last episode with the end credits. So the best ending with this game is where you have all of the Chaos Emeralds and the Super Emeralds. And you'll go to the Doomsday Zone, you'll have all of that to play, and that's the best ending, where Angel Island Zone goes back up in the sky, and the Master Emerald is returned to Angel Island. The bad ending is where you do not have all of the Chaos Emeralds, and so you won't even play the Doomsday Zone. So that chase scene from fighting the big egg robo, the egg robot, I guess you would call it a big egg robo, that would be the end of the game right there, and the Master Emerald would actually stay in space. So you wouldn't even worry about that. And that would be the bad ending. And all you would see would be Eggman leaning against the Super Emerald there. So right now here we're back at Sonic's path here. So we're going to be going this way. There are some zones where this will crisscross, so keep that in mind, and you can use that to your advantage if you know where the locations of the Super Emeralds are, or excuse me, the Super Rings are in Sonic zones. But yeah, the Bubble Shield also, you know, it allows all the characters to breathe underwater. Nobody can breathe underwater. Tails can swim underwater, but Sonic cannot, and Knuckles cannot also. But I believe Knuckles can actually glide underwater, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it's actually kind of cool. But that was the bad ending of the game. Now, yeah, he can actually glide underwater, so that's pretty handy. That was actually the bad ending of the game. Now, the good ending of the game is a little bit different. And I'll explain as we get in this bonus stage here. The good ending of the game was a little bit different. You had to have all 7 Chaos Emeralds, but you didn't have all 7 Super, not Hyper Emeralds, all Super Emeralds, which you will be able to go to the Doomsday Zone and fight the big egg robo. The Master Emerald will follow you, and you'll return it, but Angel Island Zone will go back in the sky, but at the end, you will see one of the egg robos come up out of the big pile of all the other egg robo debris and the destroyed egg robos. And so you'll see him there. So, the game doesn't explicitly designate or say when Knuckles' story takes place, if it's after the events of Sonic's story or anything like that. But my thought is, I think it takes place after Sonic's story, because you have the good ending there, and given the other events that we'll see happen, it makes the most sense to me, but I'll explain that as we go along here. But yeah, so that Egg Robo is more than likely the one that we're going to be fighting this whole time. So just keep that in mind as you go. Well, it's a pretty cool tidbit about this story, if anything. So, once again, they're trying to be really creative about this, having 3 different characters with all different capabilities, and trying to add to the replay value of the game for sure. By having all these different characters and different storylines to play, it adds something new every time you play, you know, adding to the replayability. But we've got our 3rd Chaos Emerald here. We've got 4 more to go. So, yeah, I mean, we're looking pretty good right here. Things are looking up, Fox. Things are looking up, Fox. Pretty good, if I do say so myself. But yeah, I think I was talking about the endings, and I don't think I did the best job of really going over them. I don't think I really didn't do my homework ahead of time, for sure. But yeah, so we've got this same boss fight here, obviously, but this one's going to be a little bit harder for Knuckles, because obviously Knuckles can't jump as high as Sonic. So what this means is we can really only attack him right here when he's standing, or when this robot is right on top of the middle pillar that will create the whirlpool. And so when he's starting to take off here, as you saw there, Knuckles just can't reach that far. So we're going to have to wait, and this boss fight is a little longer because of that. But that's okay. And the other thing about Knuckles there is, if you're trying to get to those walls, that won't really work for you there, because you're going to have to spin dash your way out of there. But we lost our water shield, and, you know, what are we going to do? But we're looking pretty good here. Knuckles got through Act 1. Yeah! Looking pretty awesome here. Hydro City Zone Act 2. So obviously it begins the same way. Excuse me. And actually, those blocks right there, we didn't even have to spin dash there. We could have just walked. Just pounded through it right there. Nothing can stop this man. Nothing can stop Knuckles. So, yeah. We're still doing this whole Raiders of the Lost Ark gimmick right here. We don't even need to spin dash. We're all set. So we're back here at Sonic's area, and all three characters will be here. But, yeah, here we are. So, pretty cool stuff, I do say so. So, I'm a big fan of Knuckles. I think he's probably my favorite character. You know, I've just growing up playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or well, more Sonic 3 and then Sonic and Knuckles on Sonic Mega Collection. I definitely chose to play as Knuckles more because of his abilities. And I thought he was a little bit cooler of a character, sometimes. Okay, sometimes that'll happen. Woo! I thought he was a pretty cool character with what he could do, and he was a little bit different than Sonic. It was like, why is this guy separate from everything else that's going on? We've got... Why is he separate from all these other games that are going on? We had the original Sonic, you had Sonic 2, we had Sonic 3 Knuckles. Both of those games and everything that came with those. And why is this guy so different? Why is he out here? And I always thought there was something kind of special to him there, I guess. I know nowadays he's kind of more of a jock-like character where he's got the... he can punch hard, but he can't really think that too hard for himself. I mean, we see that in this story. Eggman's able to trick him into thinking Sonic wants it. Wants the Master Emerald, he really doesn't. But, granted, I don't know if that's more of... I don't know if that's anything alluding to just how stupid he is in later games or something like that, but I don't know. Whoa. Try to get down here. Oh, there was... Nope. There's nothing down there. But what is over here? But he wasn't really that character quite yet, but he definitely had the power, and he definitely had, maybe not a whole lot of brains, but he's definitely the power side of the team, for sure. Not so much the brains as much as Tails is. Wow, we got all the way back up here. Okay. We're gonna go fast. Woo! Alright. Let's just go on ahead here. And let's keep going. So, like I said, I always like playing as Sonic more in this game because he gets to use those shields, the lightning shield, the water shield, the fire shield, to the best of their ability that they can provide, while they're more of just these kind of things for these nice things to have once in a while for Knuckles and Tails, but they can't really use them. So yeah, so we found another bonus stage here. And we're going to be playing through this one. We're going to go for our fourth Chaos Emerald here. Things are looking pretty good. But I always thought Knuckles was pretty cool. Plus, I was always used to be a bigger fan of the color red. Blue's more my favorite color now, but that's okay. But I always thought Knuckles was really, really cool. His abilities, spikes, everything such as that. And plus, he is pretty funny with the whole "and Knuckles" meme. I'm sure I'll be trying to squeeze that joke in every chance I get. But we'll see what happens. But I always thought he was pretty cool. I do definitely like Sonic and Tails. I would have to say Tails is my least favorite out of the three. Just mostly off of playing this game. Tails is actually really fun to play. He's just very different. But he wasn't my favorite, but he's still really fun to play. But always really enjoyed Sonic and Knuckles the most, playing them. And those characters too. So, but yeah, Knuckles is my favorite, I would say, just with what he can do compared to Sonic, and definitely my favorite character for the Sonic universe, I would say. But Knuckles got a Chaos Emerald, so we've got number 4 right here. Things are looking pretty good. And I believe I know where one more of those super rings are. So this should make our world our life a little bit easier. So that would be really nice. Whoa! Crap. Okay, well we got this hand down here. That'll help us out. But yeah. So I mean, I've always been a big trivia fan. I'll be honest. So I've always been a big trivia fan of things. Really liking how things happen and different things such as that. And I actually just watched a video on the making of Sonic 3, and it goes into a lot of the details of the development cycle and everything such as that. All the things that happen. A lot of things I already talked about, such as what happened with McDonald's, Michael Jackson, and these different things such as that. It touches on that, and maybe a little bit more, and probably maybe better than I do. But I would highly recommend watching that video. I think it's called The Making of Sonic 3. And it was actually a really cool video. I'll probably put the link in the description. But I would recommend 10 out of 10. You know, I thought it was really cool. Plus, this is one of my favorite games of all time. And I really enjoyed the video. I do have to say. I thought it was really cool. If you're into that kind of stuff, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was really well done. It really explained a lot of things, went over the general history of the game, the development, everything such as that. All of the tidbits and the trivia that you hear about associated with the game, why they split it up into 2 games, or the background going off of Sonic 2, and the success it had. Okay, I do definitely want to be up here, and there we are. So here we are. We're going to be getting into our 5th Chaos Emerald stage here. And yeah, I mean, we've only got 2 more to go if we get this one. And we've got, gosh, 4 more zones to do it in? Things are looking pretty awesome, I do have to say. So yeah, I mean, wow, we're making really good headway. So yeah, I would really recommend watching that video. It talked a lot more about the technical aspects too, like how they saved a lot of memory and a lot of, I guess, processing power too by these special stages here. How they went about just changing the color palette by 1 pixel in order to give the illusion that the world was rotating here as you were walking on it. So I thought that was definitely a really, really cool video, and I would recommend it if you're interested into that. And it probably goes into things in much more detail than I do, and maybe in a better way. But, you know, I'm not going to discount myself there. I thought I did a pretty good job explaining things. But I bet it does possibly explain things a little bit better than I do. But, yep, here we are. There is our last set of blue spheres there, and our 5th Chaos Emerald. Woo boy! Alright, things are looking pretty good, and I think we're getting to the end of the zone here. So, yeah, like I said, some zones do crisscross with which characters, which parts really belong to which character and everything such as that. So if we actually went up there, we would be going backwards to that last save point we were at. So I would just recommend just falling down here, because if you get stuck back up there, you're just going to have to redo this whole thing right here. So, ooh, okay. Alright, so there's something over here, I thought. Alright, got some free rings. I'm always down for that. I would like some onion rings too. But those are pretty tasty. Onion rings are very tasty. So, there's no button here because, well, we're Knuckles. So, we're just going to punch it. And we get to play the zone a little bit longer here. And we're going to have some more puzzles to deal with, it looks like. So I'm just going to climb the walls here, make this a little bit easier. But I'll probably use those platforms if they catch up to me. But, okay. Alright, nothing up there. So that's the other really nice thing too, is I really do like how they stress exploration with Knuckles and Tails. I thought they did a really good job of that. So, yeah, it'll be pretty good. Like, really stressing their abilities. So if you saw those Path of Rings there, what the game is kind of wanting to do here is wanting to use your glide ability right here. And just go for those rings, go to the walls, and have some fun with it. Come on! I just got all those. Oh, man. Come on. That really sucked. Ooh, okay, I thought I was going to get crushed. Okay, I'm just falling down. Alright, we're just going to take our time. And, whoa, come on. Alright, we got this save point here. Now, we're getting into this boss fights. Pretty much all of the boss fights are the same as Sonic and Tails were. The only difference sometimes is your way of going about it. Now, Knuckles here is no exception. He is going to have a much harder time. He's going to have a much harder time taking on Eggman's robots. Come on, grab that ring. He's going to have a much harder time taking on Eggman's robots and everything such as that. Egg Robo here. No, come on. Okay, we made it. Oh my gosh, I thought we were going to die. So, if you remember when I did this, I was able to use the water shield to my advantage and use that to gain some serious air. Oh my gosh, almost missed it. Oh, didn't miss it. What? Are you serious? What the heck? Come on. What the heck? That was garbage. But if you remember when I was playing as Sonic, I was able to have a water shield and I could bounce right off of the floor, even though the water was right there, and gain some serious height to do some hits to Eggman's robots there. Unfortunately with Knuckles, because he can't jump as high and he doesn't get to really use that ability with the water shield, you don't really get to have that on your side, unfortunately. Which is really a shame for this boss fight, because it makes it a lot harder. So you have to rely on those bombs he's going to lay down in order to give you some air, and you're going to have to rely on this whirlpool right here that he stirs up and stand on that in order to give you a little more additional height. Come on! Oh my gosh. Plus sometimes if you don't time it well, if you don't time that well, then you're just going to miss him, period, because sometimes you can go off screen. And that's a little irritating, to be quite honest. So, I mean, yeah. But watch out for the propeller. Sure, the propeller of the fan that's right there, too. Because, oh my gosh, just missed him. Watch out for the fan or the propeller there, because when that's spinning, because that will hurt you. So just keep that in mind as you go about that here. And this whirlpool, you just need to stay away from it. Just keep running to the left or the right, depending on the direction. If you don't jump out of the water, yes, you can drown in this water. This boss fight is much more fun as Sonic, and it's definitely annoying as Knuckles, but it's okay. Sonic, yes. Red Sonic got through Act 2. Way to go, Red Sonic. Woo! A lot of the transitions are the same here too. So, Marble Garden Zone. Back here, and then we're kicking it. So yeah, we're looking pretty good here. I think, yeah, I think that's a good spot to end the video here, but next time on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, we'll be kicking it real good here, back again at Marble Garden Zone as Knuckles. And we're going to be having a lot of fun, and Knuckles, as we chuckle our way through this. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you, my dudes.